Yes, cool. All right.
Okay, nice. And I found the VOD on YouTube, so I can hop around if needed.
Cool. Yeah,
All
so
right.
I don't really play much mid lane, so I'm not sure about or bot really. So I'm sure I'm missing a lot of knowledge with that. I'll go ahead and mute LS. So Faker already goes and gets a ward on the red buff. Um, I guess he knew that they started bot side.
Yep, probably just by the bot lane pathing there later.
Yeah.
Because Faker did go there after top lane showed too, so
Yeah, makes sense.
they're scrapping.
Okay. So it seems like Seth's just trying to kind of play the weak side because he knows Lee Sin's going to be going up there, and he knows that Gragas started top side going downward. Okay. We can maybe skip around a little. Okay, so drag's coming up. Their bot side's going to reset because I guess they know that Gragas is pathing. Put him to top side to do another full clear. And they want to be up an item. So what did he buy? Yeah, so he got boots. It's nice for dodging stuff in the fight and everything.
In hindsight, and with all the information we have,
Mm-hmm.
popping that blasting plant would have been a fun idea.
Yeah.
But obviously, he doesn't know if he was going to get collapsed on by the Rise as well.
Yeah. How do you feel about this spotline matchup?
Yeah, Leona MF versus Brahmophilios. It's actually pretty good because Brahm can negate a lot of the MF's damage, but
Mm-hmm.
if Leona can get lockdown on Aphelios,
Gotcha. So
it's
it's
gonna
just
be
trade-offs.
yeah.
Seems like Faker's just trying to hard push this to force a dragon. Getting the crab. They're kind of timing everything really well. Lee Sin, they they know he's either on his blue or going towards his blue. And then top lane's already pushed out, and he can either, I guess he can. Okay, so I was thinking he might run straight drag, but I think the bot lane's just not like able to kind of hard shove without getting at least a little punished. So it's kind of tough to have him just sit around there while he gets pushed in topside. And I guess if you miss like one wave in this level of the game, then you know you're kind of your lane's doomed. Okay, so it seems like Gragas is just going to concede the dragon, which probably is fine here. I don't
Yeah.
know though, because Rumble's is like, I don't know. I'm really not sure. It seems like Rumble and MF would have a really strong team fight, but like,
Yeah, the pretty much bot lane just shoved
mm-hmm.
shoved in, and they got bot prio. So bot's gonna rotate up quick, and Rise can always just like get the dragon pit really quickly because it's teleport range.
Yeah.
He can go straight from the wave, so he can get slightly better wave management unless like Faker just like shoves him in. Except Rise can already have like solo kill potential, or he can like chunk Faker out if he just tries to like shove the wave without good management. Because you
Right.
can't just really blindly shove his Rumble like a melee matchup into Rise, especially in the early levels, until you've spiked at least like a Leandries or something where you can trade back with Faker.
That
Or
makes a lot
sorry,
of
as
sense.
Faker trade into Showmaker, right? Because if you only have like Merc Treads, you're not going to shove the wave quick enough. It's going to take 2 Q rotations versus just like 1 Q and like E auto rotation.
Yeah.
And so Showmaker can just like walk up and punish Faker at that time. Like obviously Rumble has like the stronger zoning ultimate at that time, but
So is there like really anything Faker can do to kind of get prio for that drag, or it's just he has to push it when he can?
yeah, there's two things they can kind of do. Is like if they were able to like bot lane during the times where they were shoved into, let's say, Aphelios and Braum, right? They can get like slightly deeper wards and try to get a pick onto Canyon as he's like trying to clear towards bot side. With like the Rumble ultimate, and it have to be a quick pick with like Leona Rumble or like Gragas, and then they can pressure for the dragon. They have to set up beforehand. Trying to sneak the dragon there is just a little bit harder versus like how the lanes were at the time.
Gotcha.
Contesting it wouldn't have been like the worst play, but I still think Damwon was like slightly favored in that spot for it.
Yeah. Yeah, this just seems like kind of a weird pick to go for Leona, but obviously it's hindsight.
Oh, it just dipped in and out of vision. Oh no, he did manage to get it. That's just how it looks like from a spectator point of view.
Right. Okay. Gragas is a good amount more farm than Lee Sin at least. I didn't actually see. Did he pick up any of the like lane minions, or are those all from? I mean, he had to pick up something for it to be 85. But
Let's see. No, let me just go back in the video.
yeah, we can pause and go back.
I can believe like the Gragas is just out farming the Lee Sin. Lee Sin isn't particularly good at AOE wave clearing,
Right.
so Gragas is going to be able to do like the Raptor count and
Yeah. If both players power farm,
Krugs a lot faster.
obviously Lee Sin gets outscaled, and also Gragas is just faster over time. Did he? And also, obviously, he just misses time by going for that dragon. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so Lee Sin is taking top side here. Gragas comes for the drag. Trying to look at the pings and figure out what they're thinking. So maybe Mordekaiser wants to stop set TP with R. But Mordekaiser's still just 0 items, so I think if he Rs him, he just dies. So it doesn't have damage, so I don't know if he would actually get the full kill, but maybe a flash sign. Okay, so now that we're positioning against Rift, so they just get vision on Rift and then don't actually need it. Because I hear LS say all the time that Rift's just so overrated, and NA teams just will rotate their whole bot lane, and it's just not. Doesn't end up being a good macro play.
Yeah, I do agree with that statement.
Yeah.
When you're looking to use Rift, a lot of times is you're trying to use it as like a power play, right? A lot of times it's just not worth it if you're going to grab the Rift and there's no clear play you can use right after.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Rift Herald is usually should be treated as like kind of like a bonus,
Right.
or if like all sides of the camps are gone, but you're not sure if you want to, let's just say, fight into like an assassin jungler. For example, like as a Gragas, Gragas is not that bad because you have a lot of tools to deal with like an assassin jungler. You can kind of just like burst them away and have your own escape tool.
Yeah, Gragas
But
super hard counters Lee Sin as well. So.
Yeah, but let's just say you're playing something like Preform Kane. Oh, nice steal.
Gragas too.
Yeah, that's nice. Just checking the R.
Yeah. Oh, Leona gets a pick on Lee Sin. Are you kidding me? Ooh.
Okay, so like for example, here, right, rotating up for this Rift Herald is fine.
Yeah.
Because they're countering the Herald, right? And by grabbing the Herald here, they can also like make a counterplay.
Yeah.
So, for example, Gragas, if he really wanted to, if he wanted to get himself ahead, and they don't try to look to break mid, then they can also just Rift top, get 3 plates, or you can like go here and just get another 3 plates mid as well. Like, yeah, it's effectively 3 plates at that point.
Gotcha.
Should be able to.
Do you think if Damwon just completely concedes that, they can like trade enough resources for it to be kind of worth, or like almost even? Like,
Yeah,
can they push in like 2 waves bot, and then is that good enough? Like if they get a plate as well or something?
Okay, so the thing is, MF and Leona do have pretty high mobility, only because of MF's passive and Leona's Mobius. But as soon as like bot lane left, they could kind of accept that. But Braum was also chose to rotate, right? Yeah, I think giving in the solo EXP to Aphelios and stuff is like fine if they're gonna like concede it, but then they kind of just went half and half. Yeah,
So
even for pro players, you see sometimes it's hard to just like concede the objective when it's like low HP. You want to kind of like stay and like fight for it.
Yeah.
Especially like Lee Sin, it's like, oh, I can like smite secure this. Then me dying for like the rift isn't like that bad. Stuff like that, but obviously, again, this is hindsight. But conceding the rift was probably the better play.
Yeah, I mean, it seems
especially
like
with
it was just a tight timing, because if they don't get it stolen, then like Lee Sin probably has ward up over wall and can just get out. But I mean,
let me see.
Okay, so what is red team getting from? Doesn't seem like they're really getting anything, but like they can't contest that drag, I guess.
That dragon's good just because bot literally just like recalled.
Yeah. So Damwon's bot side was just behind for first item.
Yeah.
Got it.
Again, partially that's just due to higher mobility. So MF just gets better wave timing. She's running at like 450 move speed. Felix is running at his 390. So MF just gets to traverse the map a lot faster.
Let's see.
Also, like another thing is Braum doesn't have Mobius, right? Not that he should be getting Mobius, but that's another reason why like roaming up in that Rift fight, I think you have to be a little bit more. If you're gonna be committed to that first Rift, you have to be a little bit more preemptive in that, and just kind of like be there already.
So should they have been like, I don't know, hard shoving earlier somehow, or like Is there something they can do bot side
Yeah.
before?
Sometimes it telegraphs the play, but that's
Right.
just what you have to do. Otherwise,
I'm sure that works
I
fine
see
in
it,
low
just
elo.
like walk back.
You know, you just kind of shove that and can have prio for topside objectives. But okay, so is MF scared here at all? Oh no, obviously she has Leo. Wasn't looking minimap. I guess if she didn't have Leo, she probably just runs away. She has her thing, passive.
On Damon's comp, because of how effective Aphelios is with just like his teammates providing CC and he can like output damage, taking a much more passive approach is usually pretty good, especially since he's got like cleanse and Brahma's heal.
Okay.
Playing under tower is probably the right play. That's part of the reason why like you can see like Lee Sin kind of like shadow the entire time too.
Didn't seem like any of these lanes are like super one-sided. Maybe mid lane a little bit towards Rise. But it's a nice pick.
Nice
Flash.
Yeah, it's well played.
So I guess the only way they really make that pick is like just having vision around topside for a certain amount of time, so then they can see his pathing and just manage to group together and catch him there. Because it always seems like those plays kind of just magically come together, but I'm trying to just think about how that really works.
Yeah, they cleared off topside. They don't see the camps, so and let me just see if that vision is from bot side.
And I guess them
Yeah,
rotating up would make it.
No, they already had vision at their blue buff.
Oh, okay.
Because the ward just expired there. If you look on the mini map, so he knows like bot side jungle's done. So they're assuming like Lee Sin like paths up to boards like Krugs and to start shadowing again. That's probably why they try to make that pick there.
Yeah.
Yeah, wards make tracking pretty easy if you're a pro team and actually use the information.
Do you have like advice for solo queue players on how to use vision? Because like it seems like everyone just puts down the same ward and then junglers just run over it and plays are either made or they're not, and that's just how it goes. But like it doesn't seem like the whole
For
team uses
a player
vision.
personally, turn up ping volumes, disable ambience, and lower sound effects.
Yeah. I only play with pings and low sound effects on. So.
Yeah, so that's really important. And then for your team, spam pings is actually really useful.
Yeah.
Just yeah. If you spot their jungler spam ping, for example, there's a lot of like really good pro players. Like an exaggerated example is if you look at forgot his name for a sec. So often tip of my Donby. If you look at how he plays solo queue, he literally types out an essay on timers and stuff. And again,
he's the guy who has the meme for timers on him, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right. The exact same thing applies for like wards and stuff. If you really want to be like that really good teammate, and like you see your team is listening and stuff, you can always be tracking pathing, be like, oh, jungler started blue, jungler pathing towards top side and stuff. And even in low elos, you see that sometimes, right? But it's just not at the consistency.
So
I mean, like whenever you're feeding your team information and it doesn't impede your own micro in the lane, It's always something you can do. There's always something you can do to make the game more
I think
favorable
there's
towards yourself.
even an argument to take it a step further and say that even if it impedes your own micro a little bit, it might be more valuable to just like really spell things out.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'm actually just like 50 words per minute. Just, yeah, not so good, but that's on a good day.
Go Faker. Wave clear.
Yeah, it's kind of unique use of Rumble, but it's a decently low cooldown, so and there's no objectives up, so it's a good usage. Whoa, a damage. Just Essence Reaver IE.
Yeah, I is much better than Runehands if you're looking to kill someone really quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
Also
like,
helps that one of those was a crit, so
yeah,
yeah, definitely makes it a lot easier.
critting for 550. Oh, nice.
Crit plus passive does quite a bit of damage.
Yeah.
And double shot. Press the attack. That was definitely on nuclear, not respecting MF there.
Yeah. Do you ever find that you have like a problem of just not like you know what champions kits are, but then there's like just one kind of like passive thing or something that you don't know on a good amount of champs kits? Because I find that I have that because I just pretty much
for
play
the
them
new
every game.
Yeah, when I played the game a lot more seriously and really wanted to constantly improve, I would take the time to go onto the wiki pages and learn the timers, right?
Yeah.
And a tip for like solo queue players is if you find yourself losing like a particular matchup, let's just say you main a champion or if you like one trick a champion, you should try to hop into solo queue and play like that champion like 3 to 5 games, right? And then that way you get a good feel for the champion, so you can kind of get like the muscle memory versus it as well. So for example, let's just say you play against you play as like TF or something. As you're like a main, you're a TF main, I mean, and you play against like Zed multiple times, right? And you know how annoying like the WE combo can be. If you hop into solo queue, or it doesn't have to be solo queue, but you play as like Zed for like 3 to 5 games. Ooh, almost got nuclear again there. Did he flash that? Oh yeah, he did flash that. Okay. So yeah, you play as like Zed. You get used to WE combo. Instinctively, it actually makes it much easier for you to like pal against like the queues, especially against like a Zed that's at like an intermediate level, right? Like against like obviously expert players, then it becomes down to like reaction time, etc. But you can start seeing like the you can kind of guess how people are going to play based on your base level feel of like the range indicators. You're like, oh, okay, this guy's like walking up here. He's probably going to try to throw like a WE behind me and then get the double shuriken off for the quick electrocute burst.
Yeah.
So if he's pathing up, maybe I path towards the left and pull the minion wave that way, etc.
Yeah. Okay. So they're just dancing around, dancing around. MF decides to go up and push in mid. Make sure she doesn't get
So
caught.
Nuguri's got like
She's level 15.
a really good spot
so
here.
She's insanely strong this fight.
Okay, so he's just ults Leona, instantly removes him from the fight, gets the stats.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good play. I'm not sure if Damwon could have actually done much else there. Like against that team, Lee Sin just feels like super awkward. Feels like Set, Rumble, Gragas.
Yeah. It's just feels bad to be that Lee Sin. Oh, it's a nice wrong thing. That's just too much damage. It seems like though. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure if ulting Faker might have been the play there.
Yeah.
Like I was like
mean,
thinking about it the
sure,
entire time,
like,
like if he just like instantly ults Faker, but
yeah.
did Faker have stopwatch in that fight? Because
Let's go
or
back.
did he pop it?
He popped it.
Because if he doesn't have stopwatch, it might have actually been the play to.
No, he has it. He has it, but
Okay.
yeah, if he doesn't have it, yeah, you might be right. He might be like just health tanky enough, but he's not. Doesn't have much resistances, so probably have enough damage once you stack Conqueror. But I don't know. Like I don't. Do you kill him though? Like full on? I don't know if he even wins that, because I mean, normal Q damage is still just pretty significant.
Yeah, it's mostly just like about taking the Rumble out of the fight, right? And if you
I see.
force the Rumble to use the ultimate on you in the realm,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to
Then
be a
doesn't
large
have
portion of their DPS, and then Lee Sin can actually have like
do something. Yeah.
a slightly better window. I mean,
Yeah. It's just
I
tough
think
for Lee Sin
S1's
in these
draft here
fights.
is S1's draft here is like really solid against towards their top side at least.
Yeah.
Say that. So it's interesting to see this gameplay. Okay, so they get a pick on their bot lane and they try to force Baron here.
Yeah.
As Lee Sin spawning.
Set is a
They don't have a
madman.
jungler though. I think that was actually. I was gonna say it was a good play, but again, hindsight.
Pretty
I was
bad.
like, hey, that looks pretty good, but maybe that's just me being low elo. That's my instant reflex kicking in.
Sometimes I'm like really confident I know how something's gonna go, and then it just doesn't. Like,
Yeah.
oh, damn, that bro might live.
Okay. That was good MFLT. I mean,
Yeah, they don't
not much
pick it
else
up
they could really do there.
for anything. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Ooh,
clean.
kind of crisp. I mean, like, Lee Sin's just putting himself further and further behind. It's just tough. Like, definitely a bit of an outdraft situation.
Yeah, even in solo queue, I think a lot of players would consider, at least in the champ matchup and towards like team fights and some skirmishes, like Gragas to being a really solid pick into Lee Sin. And then you also have like Rumble and Set, who are both like really punish weaker bruisers like Lee Sin. You know, like Lee Sin's more of like a high mobility bruiser.
Yeah.
Or it's like played as a bruiser, but he doesn't have like any damage mitigation except for his like shield, right? Like his like a long time ago, his E used to reduce like attack speed, so he had like that form of like damage mitigation. But now it's like he's just a mobility bruiser. Like he toes the line between like assassin and like bruiser.
Yeah.
So no matter how you itemize, unless you get like significantly ahead, melee picks actually punish you a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Especially like ones that can just like go ahead and like lock you down for like long periods of time, like Gragas and Set.
Yeah, I mean, Gragas just counters his Q really hard, obviously, so he just holds it. If Lee Sin's gonna be a threat, and then yeah, that's just how that goes. But I didn't watch the draft really, so.
You should have went Dark Harvest and went lethality. Kidding, of course.
Nice.
So Vietnam really loves the Dark Harvest Lee Sin, especially like around a season or two ago. It's like super popular, especially like the high elo. They would always like play Dark Harvest Lee Sin, and they would just like play like super sick like montage plays, just sitting in like Raptor camps and just like queue over into the mid lane, one shot them.
Lee Sin one shot kick build, like, just yeah.
That's that good. Yeah. But, probably. You're probably running it down on your team in a pro setting.
What's your champ pool like? Because I guess you are like an ADC main, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for season 11, I think I'm gonna. If I want to perform better and play better, I think I'm gonna make a transition to mid lane.
My man.
We'll see.
ADC
We'll see
is the
how like the
least fun role in the game. Like it's so.
we'll see how the 10.24 changes work. But
Yeah,
man, they gutted crit ADCs. Like
it's rough.
lethality ADCs are the only thing that are kind of playable right now, and that's because lethality ADCs are obviously punished crit ADCs early,
Yeah.
and then now they're kind of like even or close to scaling like later on. So that's why you can see stuff like Eclipse Jin being played. You can see stuff like Samira's still fine because she's mostly like a spellcaster, and you just like chain it up with like cheese CC, so you can just like snowball off the bot lane.
Hmm. Do you think there's any items out of all the new ones, the mythics and stuff, like that are just broken?
Uh, Night Harvester is probably slightly too high in numbers.
Yeah.
Concept's probably fine, especially since there's like like 80 variants of that too, right? There's like Duskblade of Drakthar.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. That's pretty strong.
Yeah, there's a lot of multi-kill tools, right? I think they're trying to promote a little bit more of a, you know, solo carry meta. You know, like
Yeah.
even though people aren't like seeing it that way, they're just like, oh, like everything just gets one shot. Having that one shot is kind of healthy for the game. You just gotta be able to like.
Yeah. I have a couple
It's
friends
tough.
that
It's relevant.
that play Dota and like they've been playing a bit of League, learning the game and stuff, and what's it called? They just complain that like everything is just a one-shot character, and I'm like, yeah, pretty much. But that's why we play this. One-shotting's pretty fun.
Just like how Gragas one shot those Raptors.
Yeah.
Haha.
So, I don't know how much you still like actively improve your game outside of playing, but like when you kind of were in your peak of that, even if it's now, what was your like kind of process like for just improving and you know in many ways, and kind of did you hit any plateaus and stuff like that?
Yeah. So it's been years now, right? Like the last time I was high yellow has been like maybe 6 years. Yeah, around 6 years, I would say. Like there's like periods of time where I peak around like masters, like low masters. Um, Usually like D2. And when I say peak around masters, I don't mean I've even achieved the rank masters. I mean like I'm like high D2, low D1,
Mm-hmm.
and I get into like master level lobbies.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely not like a top tier player by any means. And I'm not going to try to say that I'm a top tier player. But before that, right, like closer to like challenger, uh, season 4, season 3, there was a period of time where I kind of like plateaued around like diamond 2 for like the longest time. Like I was like diamond 2 into like low diamond 1.
That's what I hear a
Again,
lot.
like similar situation. Uh,
Is like players
for
that.
like a solid 4 to 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
And what was really not clicking to me is just how you approach solo queue. Because at the time I was playing on like a competitive team. A lot of times we would like scrim like really strong teams.
You playing like a college team or
Like
something, or
no, like LCS qualifiers and stuff.
oh damn.
So it would be like you'd scrim like challenger level teams, and occasionally you'd scrim like low level LCS teams would be like, oh, we're just like looking for a scrim, right?
Yeah.
They're a lot more open to scrimming like high level challenger teams just because there's like a direct process, and also part of that is to like gauge your level of being able to like compete against like the relegation level teams
Yeah.
back when LCS had like relegations.
Gotcha.
And in those games, obviously performance seems to be like a lot better. If obviously in hindsight, if you said like they were all taking like their scrims seriously, trying to like win games and actually just perform their best,
Mm-hmm.
but that performance didn't translate into solo queue, right? Like I'd still be like, oh, I'm like Diamond 2, Diamond 1 in solo queue, and I find myself like playing like I'd have to be like at my best performance to find the climb.
Yeah.
And obviously the immediate fix for that is you just like kind of lower like your playtime per day, and you just only play when you're like in peak physical condition, peak mental condition.
Yeah.
You limit your games to 3 to 4, 3 to 5 games a day, where you're playing like in top notch.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of like high elo players would do. But that was just kind of like a band-aid fix, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean that's kind of been something I've struggled with a pretty decent amount. Is like I have a lot of
that
off
one
days.
just kind of like that one just kind of like ran through
Yeah.
like
Just
like
give it
T1
a
in the last
smackdown.
like 5 minutes.
Is it over?
Yeah.
Let's see. No, MF still has a ton of
Probably
damage.
not. Probably not. I'm surprised when they were chasing Mord, he didn't just like go for the tower.
Yeah.
I think he probably could have got it.
So as a solo queue player,
In hindsight, he didn't.
seeing the MF level 17 and 18 while the supports are 13, 14, like
Yeah.
it just
slightly
doesn't add up. Like, but yeah, I mean, I guess that's how solo queue players don't use XP funneling and all that.
But yeah, onto the prior topic. Yeah, so how I managed to get myself out of that plateau, right, was like just kind of approach the game slightly differently. Even now, because I want to be like, obviously I don't have any plans to become like a top tier player, but I want to get myself to a point where I can like consider myself good, right? Like
Nice.
Everybody has like their own metric and gauge of what they think it's good. For me, I'm just like, hey, if I can get to a season where I'm like Masters or in Masters, hey, it's not bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I think Masters is definitely what. Like I was having an argument with my other low elo friends. Me being one of the low elo friends, and we were saying what is like high elo, and what I always hear from like challenger or master players is like, yeah, if you can get to master, you're a high elo player, but like diamond is kind of. But then
yeah, it's all relative, right? Like
I feel like people are just convinced when they're like in silver that diamond is just this like unachievable, like ridiculously far away thing, and they have like kind of it's like a mental thing that stops them from climbing, as well as among other things, obviously. But I think for like there's pretty much nothing wrong with aspiring for those kind of things, Obviously there's a lot of delusional solo queue players who are just I deserve to be there, but that's not the right attitude if you actually want to get there.
Yeah. Getting to diamond, I think for most, at least for gold level players, right? Like for players in like bronze and silver, maybe they all, like, I'm not going to say there's no bronze or silver players that can get diamond. That's not true at all. I know like a lot of bronze and silver players can also get diamond if they like take the time to learn like macro and stuff. But for gold players specifically, like I've been like players throughout the years have really improved their mechanics.
Yeah. I have
game sense doesn't improve that much.
Yeah. I totally agree. That's always my thing. Is like macro is just
and it does, and it still does
important as
improve like
everything else.
throughout the years, right? Like people know it's like, oh, group for Baron, group for Dragon, get deep wards, stuff like that.
But
they know
these are just terms. These aren't like connecting these ideas, right?
Exactly. Yeah, they don't know how to connect the concepts together. Yeah. So they get that base level of understanding.
Yeah. Knowing what the word macro means, I think, is the first step.
But yeah, converting it is like the hard part. Like I really don't think it's micro.
Oh,
like,
he's stopping the wave. Okay, I was trying to figure out what Leona was doing. He's just CSing in the back. He's just trolling.
Yeah. Right. Anyways, can you read my Discord message? I will be back quite soon.
No worries. Let me open up chat real quick, see if anyone's there, what they're saying. Jackson's here. No clue what you've written, but honestly, politics is a dead category if Hassan and Destiny are streaming. Gold. Just because you know how to deep word and no macro does not mean people listen to pings and typing. Yeah, that's pretty much the ideas. Gotcha. Yeah. What do you think so far, Jackson? Be honest. I kind of didn't really know how it was going to go. I was a little nervous and stuff, but... Nice. Go for it. Be brutal. Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually. A lot more personality. Okay. I don't know. I feel like I'm not having, like, the most energetic day, and it always feels so weird to me to, like, try and fake energy, because it just seems like it's just not, like, genuine. And, like, people can pick up on it pretty freaking easily. So, like, you know, like, obviously, if I can, like, find a topic that I kind of feel passionate about and just go off on that, you know, some macro idea that I feel like is really important, like, right. I don't know. I think that LS definitely has this whole, like, obviously he's good at what he does. He knows what he's talking about, but he also is just kind of like, he has this, like, arrogant personality that goes with it, and people like that. Sure. Yeah, no, I just asked for your advice. Appreciate it. Let's see, I'm gonna line up the next video. Yeah, I can either go over another thing or, you know, thinking I might, if you're still in chat, Yugi, might still go over one of your games, and then you can kind of point out some of your own ideas, so it's not like, because we've got to be missing things, obviously. So yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's first episode, you know, it's gonna be scuffed no matter what, but yeah, man. Yeah. That's right. Ellis will shit on you if you... Like, literally, it's just hilarious to me when I watch LS, when he coaches, like, gold players and shit. Because he's just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, just everything. He's just trying to overload them with ideas, and, like, it's just, yeah, just shits on them for, you know, not understanding what are kind of simple macro ideas, but, yeah. I think the most important thing that he does when he coaches, though, is he forces them to think. He says, like, what are you thinking about right now? And, you know, when you're like, what am I thinking about right now? Like, a lot of people will just sit there and say CSing, or not getting hit while I go for CS. And it's just like, or how am I going to hit them when they go for CS? But that's just the most, like, surface level thing. And if you can, like, dedicate your brain to different things, then, you know, that's how you improve. Like, Nice. I haven't actually watched any of these, but I'll look into them. Give it any roll. Yeah, that's one thing that seems extremely difficult to me, is to, like, be like if you're, like, doing what T1's doing and just doing, like, an unranked to challenger on each different role. That just seems so tough to me, because Like, I feel like any role can learn jungle because jungle is just easy once you get the ideas down. But if you're a particularly like micro focused player, then like jungle can be hard for you. Yeah, yeah. I think T1's like people. I think on his stream he's so focused on entertainment that he doesn't explain his ideas hardly ever, and that kind of takes away from people's impression of him as a league player. But like, I mean, he's got the ideas obviously, and he's extremely consistent. You know, he like a little bit still promotes a kind of theme of toxicity, but like it's definitely not as bad as it used to be, and that's just like I think that might be how League is you know, until Riot decides to like do something, but then that might like I don't know how far I actually want them to take it with toxicity, you know? Like it's still just a video game. I don't want people to be banned for saying shut up. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, like he understands certain ideas in one role that just straight up transfer over, and then there's other ideas that you you play, and it seems like how he kind of functions is he plays so much and so consistently that his brain is just always on it. Like for me, that's why you know, if I played more consistently, my brain might start to pick up new stuff just from playing. Yeah, physical condition, mental condition, psychosomatic, all that. Actually built different. His brain is built different. Like, it's deformed. I'm sure it's on stream right now. Yeah. I also have this pulled up. I was thinking like maybe we could pin down one idea from one of these games. I probably should have mentioned that to you as we were watching it, but I'm mentioning it now. If we can pin down one idea, we can like really go through. Cause I like sometimes I just fucking act like I'm a macro god when I'm just really not and don't understand shit, and I really need to have shit broken down for me. So, but I am a micro god. You already know that's true. Just fucking taking out the AirPods real quick. I really like this type of content though. Like, I think making long form content is like the content is definitely going to be less viewed no matter what. But like it's the type of content I like, and that's really what I want to make is what I like. You know, I can obviously get better at editing and stuff and start putting stuff together in a better way, but you know, these long podcasts is what I listen to every night as I fall asleep. Yeah. Yeah. And I super love the idea of like, you know, when you're like young or youngish, like starting out making content, and if you just do it consistently, even if you don't like gain any popularity, which I don't really, you know, plan on, um, like you can just see yourself in these moments as you go by, and it's not just like a picture where, you know, you're just seeing a, you know, an image of yourself. Like everyone kind of knows the image of themselves somewhere in their head. It's just like actual content. Yeah. And like, you know, I think I'm doing kind of all the right things. If that's to happen, I have absolutely zero expectations, but I do like the idea of like, damn, I just made a sick outplay on Riven. You already know I'm posting that shit on Reddit. Like, you already know what it is. But, and I thought my montage, the editing was meh, but it's much better than the previous ones. One of them is just like one of my first YouTube videos is just so scuffed. It like didn't transfer over properly because I think I put the wrong dimensions on it when I was exporting it to YouTube from Premiere, and so it's just all in excuse me 720 1080 instead of 1920. Or 1280. Yeah. I think the only problem I have sometimes that like stops me from being consistent with my content is when I just and it like, this is just a problem I have in general is like I just am extremely inconsistent when it comes to, mood, energy, motivation, all those things. And if I can just kind of get those, to a reasonably consistent level. Like it doesn't have to be every day I'm feeling great. Like no one has that. No one, expects that. I don't expect that. I just want it to be like I can have more than one day a week where I'm like, enjoying what I do, good at what I do. Because it always goes together. It's just if I'm not enjoying League, the only reason I'm not enjoying it is because I'm not playing it well, and the only reason I'm not playing it well is because my brain's not functioning as well. And if it's not functioning as well, I'm just not going to be as happy. But, I guess those are things everyone struggles with. To a certain degree. Bro, Jackson, we gotta play chess. We got to. We got to. I've been kind of inting like the past couple days, but I got up to 1350 on chess.com, and like, I'm just. It's just that's what's motivating me right now. Is chess. I spent like 6 or 7 hours the other day playing just 7-minute games online. And I need to just play faster and start playing 5-minute, but I always lose on time. So I'm not just gonna I have to find a move that I think is good. Like, I'm not just gonna play a bad move. Yeah, I've been meaning to ask you. I just totally forgot. And I like no one else wants to play chess with me, man. Like Nick played a few games with me the other day, but like it didn't seem like he was having the most fun. And it seems like the Twitch chess boom is not necessarily coming to a close because people still watch Akari a lot and everything, but it's definitely not. I don't think they're gonna be having Twitch rivals chess stuff maybe ever again. But yeah, I feel like watching VODs, like I kind of I have to. What's important, I guess, would be recognizing something, pausing, thinking about it for a good amount of time, simulating some situations, thinking about other things related to the idea, and then once I'm like, okay, I think I have a good grasp on this idea. If I see it in a game, then I move on. Then I unpause. Do you watch any Gotham chess? What's his name? Levy Rosman. Hey, how's it going?
I just saw one on YouTube actually, and I recommended like Gotham Chess.
Yeah, gotta watch it, dude.
But
Gotta
I'm not a
watch it.
huge chess guy. They just like somehow the algorithm based on like all like the streamers. Like I'm sure we watched some of the same streamers. Like chess just got really popular, so
Yeah,
started coming into like YouTube and stuff.
yeah,
And even though I don't understand, like, um, yeah, like fundamentally, I don't understand the game chess, right? Like
sure.
obviously I know the rules. I understand like there's openers and stuff, and then uh, different calculations, and you want to try to like outplay them and stuff. But yeah, I watched like a 2 hour video on like different openers, and I'm like, oh, cool, I know all these openers, but I still have no idea how to play chess.
Yeah, and then you
And
pull up
like,
to a board and they play something that's not in the line. And you're just like, oh shit.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
No chess.
chess is definitely super interesting, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just like the idea of like coming. It's like a pure game of like coming up with ideas based on what your opponent does, and like that just seems super like enticing to me because I always
But yeah.
just love like puzzles and really like direct challenges to your brain. So anyway, do you wanna?
Well,
What's up?
yeah, we can continue, but pretty much, I was just like reading what Tank's Rule was like saying in chat, and
Gotcha.
yeah, a lot more awake now. Because still kind of
Nice.
exhausted, but definitely ready to
I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad. Um,
figure
yeah, I feel
more.
like I don't know. I feel a little more in a conversational mood right now than I did like 30 minutes ago. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
getting the juices flowing. Um, how about what do you think about analyzing one of your VODs?
Sure.
Sweet.
I don't know. Wonder if there's any good games that are around.
What
Sounds
if I do that?
spicy.
I'm gonna have to make a. Okay, let me.
Actually, I don't think I have any VODs because like a lot of them, they just expire
Right.
after I go and like look at them, right? Because
Right.
the replays they don't save unless I upload them to like YouTube or something.
Okay.
So they're usually just like clips and stuff. So I actually don't have many VODs that are.
Okay. That's totally fine. We can either keep going with, watch another VOD, see if we can find stuff, or, um, you know, you know, you know what I'm saying, you know. No. Yeah, I guess we'll just stick with the VODs.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Alright, so this is a solo queue VOD. It's a Korean solo queue. I don't know who Teddy is, but...
He's from T1.
Oh.
Yeah. One of the ADCs from T1.
What is T1's like roster actually look like? So do they just have like subs on subs on subs, or is it like?
Yeah, they usually try to have like 2 players each. I mean, like Teddy's like uh was the ADC since like last year.
Okay.
Effort was like the support since last year, and then it's kind of like Faker's the mid laner, Kuz is the jungler.
Gotcha. Yeah, I kind of stopped watching pro play like a good amount ago. Now I just watch VODs for educational value. But I used to be like, little fanboy back in middle school.
Yeah, same with me. I don't watch that many competitive league games, and you know, honestly, watching the game makes you a much smarter player, especially if you're willing to apply some of like the concepts. Right, you're never
Totally.
going to be able to execute the concepts right away, but if you put them into practice, um, yeah.
Yeah, that's my friend's
If you're a critical thinker,
critical thinker. That's
it's pretty
absolutely right.
useful.
If you're able to not get frustrated when you can't think of it immediately. I think that's the biggest key.
So, on that note, did you read the Dopa's thoughts on solo queue?
I did not.
How he's able to stay at the top all the time?
I did not.
So he says, Dopa pretty much says, like, of course, at the lower ranks, middle ranks, and we're not gonna define like what that spectrum is, but sure, you can be a micro level player and just be like beat them like solely through like mechanics and stuff.
Sure.
But the reason he's able to stay at the top, it's not because he's like some talent or like prodigy that is just like infinitely more gifted than the other players, right? He's just like, yeah, like he spends the time working like really hard, trying to like think about the game and like understand it. So a lot of like critical thinking, a lot of like, I'm just kind of watching this TV2 here.
Oh, that was nice.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, thought I just had as you were saying that is like, what do chess GMs do? Is they literally study chess 8 hours a day, like every day, and that's how they are able to stay sharp enough to, see these like complicated move orders or like combinations that are like 5, 6, 7 moves deep. It's just like, you can't just expect to just have your talent always be, do everything for you. And some people say like that makes the game less fun, but to me, I mean, that's just where you're limiting yourself. If that's, your approach is, if I try and learn, then I'm sweating.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, it's like, hey, you know what they miss? Like when somebody tells me this, this is what they're saying to me. I feel I like the feeling of being better than my peers.
Yeah.
Without having to put in the hard work.
That's absolutely a true statement.
I like being better than them,
like,
and it's
this
good
is the
when
thing,
they
is
suck.
like, I don't even think that there's something horribly wrong with that. I don't think that they're terrible people or anything for thinking that way. It's just like, that's just where you're limiting yourself. That's what it is.
It's just they just want that instant gratification, like it's the same reason. Like a lot of the player base are going to be not to draw the comparison. Like all Call of Duty players are like this. It's just the stereotype. Obviously,
they are.
I feel like the stereotype of like I want to hop in and get like 20 kills, like Smurf on these noobs. Get in a quick game, go pew pew bop bop. And they don't look at the game as like overall it's a strategy game, right? Like that's what it comes down to, strategy game and like team management.
Yeah, like everyone can put in the amount of hours of just playing and not thinking to get good at FPSs, and like it just eventually when you're playing competitive, 5 people versus 5 people in CS:GO or something, like how you think about what they're thinking and stuff, like that I think that comes a little more naturally in shooters than in FPSs, but because it's just all like the same thing, like it's all simulated the same way, like they have the same experience as you do, just from maybe a slightly different perspective based on CT or T or whatever.
So this is the kind of like the last excerpt, or like the part where Dopa was kind of like talking about this on like stream, and some guy just like translated it.
Sure.
But this part is like the last part that he says. It's really true. I mean, like it applies to me personally too, right? He's just like, yeah, pretty much. There's people who are like similar to me in like skill level in previous seasons. They're washed up now. What makes them wash up, right? It really isn't mechanics, Like most of the time, like obviously, like
I think mechanics literally just come from playtime, like that. That's it.
Yeah.
And maybe like
concepts about the game,
combos or animation cancels.
It's translated from Korean, so some of like the English usage isn't the same, but he's pretty much saying like knowing it conceptually and knowing it theoretically and applying it practically is two very different things.
Yeah.
and you really gotta learn the game. And he's pretty much saying like if you can get to like a baseline
Mm.
of skill, so let's just say like mid diamond, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can reach the upper echelons of solo queue,
Sure.
but it's just really hard, right? Like you got to be able to you really
Definitely.
got to be able to develop those skills to analyze your play and put it into practice to get to that level.
Yeah.
And conversely, like it's easy for you to be there once, but if you aren't consistently applying those concepts, or if you're not consistently uh, improving
Then you're falling
your
behind.
concept of how the game is going to play, yeah, you might just not be there one day.
Yeah. Because the player, like, there's, equivalent of the, what's called, the Flynn effect or whatever, which is like the average IQ of the general population gets higher over time.
Hmm.
Um,
Like,
like these things are eventually going to happen, and like being able to stay with the curve is a really challenging thing.
yeah, and like being washed up really isn't a meme, right? Like,
Yeah.
I guess I could consider myself washed up, but like a lot of players. So we talk about like LTS players, right?
Yeah.
Specifically, do you know who Big Fat GG is? Big Fat LP.
Big Pat LP. Yeah. Yeah.
He was the faker of season one, faker of season two.
Yeah.
Like everybody touted him as like the best player in
And
the world,
Void
right?
Boy,
Like he was on
it was
like
just,
CLG,
yeah.
same with Void Boy, like
Yeah.
crusher of the ladder, or like even more extreme examples. You have, um, yeah, the Rain Man, for example.
Rain Man,
His drop off was like way more. He straight up
pro
just was like,
player.
okay, I'm not gonna apply any concepts, like fuck it, dude, grind solo queue, pew
Did
pew pew. Uh,
did he like stream?
Me
How
too,
much did
Mo.
he stream after he stopped being a pro player?
I don't know, like a little bit here and there, but like
Sure.
uh,
Because a lot of pro players, like when they stop, just turn their whole life into making content. But it seems like he kind of went a different direction away from League. So,
yeah. For some people, like Tank Real says, like some people watch for personality and stuff, right? Like just because you start out in a league and stuff, it doesn't mean you have to be. Yeah, true.
oh, target banning him.
I mean, he was toxic. That's why,
Ah, I see.
not because they just didn't like him or anything.
Fuck this guy. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I like sometimes I don't know how to feel about toxicity in League. Like I just obviously it's not a good thing. Like if it all just went away magically, that'd be great. But like, how do you actually go about doing that? Do you just punish anyone who
uh,
says anything, anyone who gets reported, or like these things, and then like how seriously do you really need to take things, and what needs to be taken seriously? Who's defining that?
I think for that, it just kind of comes down to whatever Riot's stance is on that. Actually, like
Mm-hmm.
obviously, I don't like toxic people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're all human. Sometimes it's easy to get heated, especially team games are especially frustrating, right?
Yeah.
When you feel like, oh, your performance is like head and shoulders above like X player
Mm-hmm.
on your team, and it really feels like they're the ones dragging you down. But those games happen to you too, and sometimes it's just a lot harder to identify.
Yeah.
Like everybody is gonna hop into a game and think of like the ideal situation, and yes, your version of the play might be correct.
Yeah. But the other person's never gonna see it your way, and you have a
Mhm.
choice of whether to see it their way. I think that's what it comes down to. Is like, are you willing to at least be like, okay, maybe whatever, and just let it go at that? Or do you have to be right? Or do you have to make sure
From the
they know
perspective.
they're wrong?
Hmm.
Sorry, go
Hmm.
ahead.
In terms of opening mid, though, um, I've got mixed feelings on opening mid.
Yeah. I think there are
Uh,
games where like I just kind of want to open, and everyone else does too. And I think it's it's kind of like a tough line because like some people will see that like in high elo, okay, like these players give up, but the reason they're giving up is because they're sure that the other team's going to punish them from the position they're in and win.
yeah,
And like
I feel
and
like I feel like I feel like opening mid should be allowed once you hit a certain rank.
yeah, like literally it's like you get 3 kills behind if you're 0-3 in a solo queue game. I think like 3 out of 5 times someone on my team will say GG or open. Like it's just ridiculous how fast people give up in low elo, even though it's like who hasn't had the most ridiculous comeback game ever in silver gold? Like no one. Everyone always has comeback games. And so you're just going to not only sacrifice the LP you could be gaining, but lose more of your LP just for the sake of like I don't want to play from behind because and that's what it comes
Oh,
down to
but
is,
learning
is like
but learning to play from behind is important
it's
too.
so
Like
important.
that's
It's so
yeah.
important. That's how you actually climb solo queue. Because obviously you're just gonna have games where you get behind, and if you always
That's
give
why
up,
that's
then
why yeah, I'm also reading what Tank's Drill is saying right now. And no, yeah, I
oh
know what
yeah,
you're saying. You're saying like let's just say a game is like yeah, like he's like 20 CS and the early top laner is like 100 CS. He's just like super zoning and stuff.
mm,
But conversely, it's like the same situation. What if like your bot lane has the equal amount of pressure in that spot, right? Like the top laner is going to want to open the game there, but like your bot lane, let's just say your bot lane outscales, or like you have like your two dragons at that point, and Dragon Soul is like easily winnable condition because your bot lane is so strong, and you just have to stop the bleeding on the top side, right?
hmm
Uh, a lot of that is that's the thing, right? Like League isn't like a solved game, and it never will be.
yep. Especially with
I really
the
don't. I really
constantly
don't like.
changing meta and
Yeah,
patch.
I know what you're saying. Like the this is NA part, and yes, it's true. Um, people's mentality are weak, and because people's mentalities are weak and they don't know how to apply the concepts, opening should occur better, or like
I
opening
mean,
should
obviously
occur
bad
more
play is
frequently.
just going to happen, right? But like
Hmm.
that's that's what's I guess kind of the point of this is like when that bad play inevitably does happen, like what do you do about it? And I think when you like just say like, well, I like the bad play is going to continue happening for the rest of the game, so might as well give up. Like I think that's a bad
Yeah,
attitude just because like first of all, how players like play and get caught and stuff is extremely inconsistent in low elo. So like they can be a much better early game player and then just throw hella hard late game because they don't know how to end or they just love getting wards down in useless spots and get caught all the time. Like these things just happen, and you're not going to get them to understand why it's incorrect in one game. So all you can do is do your best, and then yeah.
but yeah, I will. Yeah. I mean, some of those things definitely contribute to why Korea is like superior, like um, in like the understanding of the game. But part of that is like the culture as well too, right? Like it really depends on like how much they understand uh, and how much they want to improve. And I really don't think like the culture specifically is just opening mid. You know, it's like speed up games and they get to play more practice. Yes, you can get more mechanical practice in, and yes, you can learn how to do better skirmishes early game and how like that creates like the snowball effect and stuff.
I think also the early game is just more fun to a lot of players. Like they just like the idea of laning and outplaying their opponent in lane. So
You
like
actually don't think it's player willingness or not? Okay, on that point, then I would just definitely disagree with you, um, especially since like uh, I come from like a coaching background, and I see players like improve drastically if they're willing to improve.
have you ever seen what you felt like was a hard stuck, whatever gold plat diamond, just make a complete turnaround and get challenger?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I have. People who aren't
That's
egotistical makes all the difference.
yeah,
It really do.
yeah.
They're paying for coaching. That's my point. There's hard stocks in bronze, silver in Korea. True. I mean that point is true. I'm just saying like the culture angle is yeah. There's players at all ranks. That's true. Like the thing is like if you're there's a difference between saying you're trying to improve and actually actively trying to improve, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like if you're just playing games, you're not improving beyond like mechanics and muscle memory. You're not actually like developing understanding of the fundamentals.
There's so much you can learn from playing games, and you can learn more than others if you're playing your games while thinking and playing your games while trying to improve. Because some people just play games, and sure they'll improve over time, but they're not trying to, right? So, but there's still just a cap to that. Like you have to do other things. You have to learn outside game knowledge or like game knowledge that you can't just learn from playing over and over again. And then there's also just like studying ideas that I think is really, really, really important. Obviously, I mean, I'm just, a plat 3
Yeah.
peak, so who cares what I
I
think,
mean,
but yeah.
yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of like if you want to get down to nitty gritty, right? Like NA and Korea has so many drastic differences too, right? There's like there's like location, there's ping, right? Location and ping and hide and there's like the high ranked players culture wise, they really don't care about spamming on that account because except players like T1, it's like they're all like, bruh, we got to go on Smurfs and create content, you know?
Yeah.
So that stuff is all true, you know? It's not just a meme. Playing on a team is definitely a good way to learn at least what you should be doing in certain spots.
Do you think you had like much more fun playing on a team versus solo queue?
Yeah, I like playing on League Team.
Yeah, because I like, yeah. I love when I like play flex with like 4 people who I think are all like uh trying to win the same way I am or like trying to improve the same way I am. It just I don't know. It's just a nice feeling to know that your teammates are gonna have that as well.
Hmm.
Which, is kind of what's so rough about solo queue, but
Flaming, I agree with. Inting, I don't. I mean, like if you're gonna run it down, right? Like, there's no argument to be made that you really care about winning.
yeah.
If you really care about winning, you suck it up and you play the fucking game.
In case you can't tell yet, Jackson is extremely toxic in League. Like he just fucking AFKs all the time. Jackson is Tank's rule, so
The game is meant to be played as 5. Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Like,
yeah, Jackson, I understand your points, and some of them are true. I agree with some of them. It's just some of them, like, just because opening isn't allowed doesn't mean you shouldn't. And I feel like a lot of people are, again, right? Like, NA is not a good judgment. Like, if we're gonna be looking at NA being like, oh, NA solo queue is not that good, opening is not allowed, right? Then you gotta at least go with the concept of like playing the game out. But a lot of people don't. So you get like this half-ass shit where it's like, oh, one guy wants to open, the other people are trying, you know, like either commit to trying or commit to opening.
yeah.
And that's
It
the part
honestly
where it's like
feels like
hard
it
to
should
get
be a
people on the same
majority
page.
thing. Like, if 3 of the people on your team feel like it's lost, then like it might just be lost either way.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
Yeah, like if it gets to like 3 people who want to open, I don't want to hear it from the ADC.
I
It's like I'm 3-0, I can carry. No, shut up. You
yeah,
can't.
yeah.
You can't
If you're
carry. It's not
going to
possible.
get worked by their Akali mid, like it's just
Yeah,
not happening.
yeah.
But I don't know. People when they're ahead also obviously want to try more than people when like 3-0 versus 0-3. So
Yeah, I mean, I was 16-0 as Jin, and I wanted to open this game. I was playing yesterday.
yeah,
Ended the game 16-1-0, and I literally couldn't, or like at the point I was like 9-0 and I wanted to open.
mm-hmm.
I was like, guys, please let me out of this game. You guys are so useless. They were actually power running it down, but like I got to like 16 kills. We still couldn't do anything, right?
They're like, yeah.
We got outscaled at that point. At that point, I would have loved to open the game, but I'm still trying, right? Like I'm still trying to hit my skill shots.
Yep.
I'm not gonna run it down and stuff. Yes, I lose like 10, 12 minutes of my life, but I'm sitting down and play League anyways, right? Like I get the practice of hitting my skill shots. I get the practice of positioning better. I get the practice of knowing how to maneuver myself in a team fight. Right? I'm still getting practice when it comes down to it. Different idea of how you're trying to play the game and what you're trying to get out of it. I guess sometimes this team fight's really exciting. Just like this is me. I'm Teddy. This was me yesterday.
That's pretty crazy solo queue game. They're kind of just ARAMing it. Hell yeah. Dude.
10 to 12 minutes over the course of 5 games is a whole other 2 games could have played. Yes, but those 2 games can also be games you just lose. Right? And all assuming if all 5 games you can turn even one of them, then it's better to spend that time playing those 5 games. You just need a strong mental.
Totally.
I don't buy the like preserving mental thing. That's another thing.
What do you mean by preserving mental? Oh, I see. Give up earlier to yeah.
If you're just losing that frequently, you drop the elo you belong in.
I think that makes your mental worse, actually, because you're like training yourself to give up by giving up more often and for less and less reasons. Like, you'll definitely over time become more likely to give up in situations that are winnable.
Yeah, pretty much. The easiest way to describe this is there needs to be a balance that it's struck. You know, like X amount of games are actually unwinnable, and people need to realize that so that they can save time. People are always going to be like every game's winnable, but at the same time, people are not able to realize like which ones are winnable and unwinnable.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks for low elo players because like there are some people who are like improving and then they are still surrounded by they're not like it's just if it's winnable it's not, if it's not winnable it is, like it's just always that. And also with the conserving mental thing, I think that's it seems like we're defining mental differently, because to me mental is like kind of how much you can take and like still play a certain way. And it seems like you might be a little bit defining mental as, not you but Jackson, as how much fun you're having while you're playing. Because if you're just having less and less fun, then and like I can agree that like opening earlier, like sometimes games that aren't winnable are just not fun. Like it's an inevitable result, all that, and then you just move into a new game, fresh start. Like, but it's just always a tough line to figure out. What are some things you've noticed Teddy doing here?
He's really using his range. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Seems like he's kind of spamming R.
That's fine. That was more just for like vision checking, so then they can slowly
not a
put
bad
vision
thing, but
into burn.
Yeah. It's just because I feel like
and its R is
it seems like
kind of decent cooldown now too, like 50.
Right. Yeah, you can't like use your autos in sync with your R, so like using your R very early in fights seems to pretty much always be the play. Like before fights start or to chase people down.
This is actually a really good game because it's Ruler versus Teddy.
It's just so ARAM. I mean, they are like pushing mid and then also threatening Baron, but.
Huh. painful to watch.
That's fun.
I think that was a.
So what do you enjoy about ADC versus other roles? Because when I play ADC, I just find that like, I guess it's just because my positioning is scuffed. So like,
Last hitting. That's what I enjoy. I enjoy the farming.
farming.
I'm a bit of a psychopath. I'm like click, click, click. I enjoy the part where like the thrill of the hunt. Like the part where like
You're chasing down that
anytime,
CS. It's just
anytime. No, I'm not talking about the CS for this one.
yeah, I
Like I'm
guess.
talking anytime like a bear can jump out of nowhere and just remove me. So like it's like I'm playing a horror game.
Yeah.
That's what I enjoy about ADC. Every game is a horror game. My favorite genre.
That's pretty funny.
Also, I like big numbers.
Yeah.
Like people who play MapleStory, they like big numbers, right?
Yeah,
You know
I
how like
played a good
MapleStory
amount of
is like
MapleStory in my time.
they
So,
see like the 8 digits, the 7 digit numbers, and
yeah.
then like the 6 digit numbers that just like keep
It's-
popping up above the head.
yeah.
That's what ADC is, man. Crit ADC's late game just go like 500,
It's-
1000,
do you think
1200.
it's the most like RPG kind of role? Like you
Yeah.
really are role playing. Like damn.
Yeah, like it's been compared like top lane is like playing a fighting game. ADC is like playing like a RPG survival horror game.
Yeah. Do you play any other big games or mostly just a league player streamer?
Yeah, League Team TFT. I would say I'm probably like absolute garbage at FPS. So I love FPS games here and there. Like I played a little bit of Valorant, like peak plat 1, just
Nice.
like gold, silver. It's
You're
like
not
so it's not.
terrible. You're not the worst.
I really am. Like I'll beat newbies, but the amount of time I've like played FPS games and my mechanics just aren't there. Like I understand the concepts of like crosshair positioning, but
Yeah.
my
I have like one friend who I don't understand. No matter how long of a break we take from an FPS, he just comes back and he's just derusted in one day. And it takes me like a month to get my aim even a little bit back. It's fucking ridiculous. I think derusting is such a important skill in certain genres as well.
Oh, they get sold. That's how they win. Let's go. That was a nice
Nice.
steal. Please.
And now it's just
Jin with Inferno is like
it's
lethality.
It's
Jin with Inferno.
disgusting. Like
It's
it
like
just-
bip bop bop beep boop.
yeah. It's actually filthy. Dang, they're down so much gold too. What a comeback. Yeah. I wonder if Jackson would have opened this game if he was the whoever on their team. It's funny, they're still losing stuff, but it seems
Jackson
like
might have opened if he was the Camille.
yeah.
Agree?
Yeah, agree.
Tanks rule, you there? Is that a fair assessment?
Come on.
Or am I giving you too little credit?
Be honest with yourself, Jackson.
You did say you were watching for personality, right? So you gotta throw a few jabs here and there. I'm 0-5 currently running it down in game. Let's go, dude. Let's fucking go.
My man. Hey.
My man. I hope I never see you in my games, but we can be friends outside of the game.
Hell yeah, dude.
You're the type of player I'll probably just report you in game, but you missed it because I literally opened top as I speak. That's so funny.
Yeah, I mean Jackson's actually like not bad at like, he plays chess and he always fucking destroys me because it seems like I've heard a bunch of stories from other friends about like his like junior year, which is my sophomore year in high school or something. He was in a class with this guy who I think he was like 2,000 rated in chess or something like that. Like he's a really strong player, and he just was like, "Huh, I want to learn." And so they like played every day and stuff, which seems like such a cool thing to me, because that type of stuff doesn't really happen very often in high schools.
Effort's really going for that play. Boom! 1400 auto. Let's go.
Yeah.
There, Callie literally just disappeared off of that Leona R. Jin flash auto.
Yeah, well, I think
Teddy really knowing his damage output. Wow, like Teddy, like the thing is, like Teddy just really knows his damage output and like their burst potential. Like he literally just walks up into melee range of that Kane and whatever, because he knows like
he knows how much
not gonna be
damage
able
they're
to
capable of doing to him and the time
yeah,
that it takes.
because like his one auto is gonna heal him back to like full. It's really nice.
All right, Echo, it's your anime moment. You got this, buddy. This is going in the montage. It's just not. It's just not. Nice. Teddy's the last man standing, as he always is. That's so like interesting how the Elise conceded their Nexus turrets, because she knew that if they lose a fight, then it's over anyway. So like she just went for the blue buff in the topside camps. Just to have the extra items. Just get destroyed. Yeah. Nice. Jin with Infernal Soul. Gotta love it.
My Eve sat in River Bush while I pinged for gank. That's unfortunate, my dude.
Might be like that. Alright. Do you have any ideas off the top of your head that we could go over on this Summoner's Rift map I have pulled up?
I mean, the most common and prevalent one is I don't know where it came from, but a lot of people, I guess players who are trying to improve, let's just start from the beginning of the game, have started to talk about the mid invade.
Okay.
Main reason is because like you'll see a lot of people are going to be stacking.
Like that, you mean?
At bushes and stuff, yeah. Because if you run through like your side of the jungle, so let's just say if you're blue side and you're running through your red river entrance, through red,
red river entrance here.
Yeah, boom. Just running through there. A lot of times, like you won't be able to get the sneak off, but whereas if you're walking from mid, you can get vision and you can kind of sneak off on like the other people. Okay. That's why like running through like mid is like a lot more common invade now too.
Yeah.
Bigger bush, people can stack in easier. They can get like a ward over, like just your mouse slightly under where it was before, like in the long bush, just slightly under, above the raptor count. Slightly under, like
sorry.
To the left.
To the left here.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Like let's just say if you're red side, right?
Yeah.
When you're invading from mid into top down, you get the ward there. A lot of times you're going to be able to like slowly
bang. All right. Sorry. Totally interrupted you.
Yeah, you can get a lot of like cheese picks there. Late invades. I think learning invades is super important, and I think like if you really want to climb from like low elo to like climbing to diamond is super easy because it's actually just jungle diff. Like it's that's not a meme. It's actually jungle diff up to like the point where it's like diamond,
so
because
play jungle
your lanes are going to be like wildly fluctuating. You just pick a jungler, and then if you know what you're doing, ping for invades, set up for invades, you can 1v9 the game a lot easier than the other roles can.
I used to be a jungle man, and then I don't know, I get tired of getting flamed, but I have chat turned off now, so who cares? But yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. But I've never thought about the idea of like studying invades. Like that's never really been a thing in my mind. It's just like it seems like a really simple thing. The thing that I hate
if you
the most,
disable chat, how do you know when to int? So you just go back to it at that point. You're just like it's.
I just know that
1432 in the game. Dragon, they just got another dragon. It's time.
It's done.
It's time, boys.
Yeah. calculated. Um, what's it called? Um, oh yeah, yeah. The thing that I hate most in my solo queue games is when I got a filthy little Ezreal player just wandering his way over here. He's just sitting here trying to poke this, and then they do a little of this action, and for some reason he doesn't respond in time, and he just like stays up. I get a little closer, and then he's like, "Oh, okay, I gotta run." And he already leveled Q, of course, 'cause he's a gold player, and he's just like queuing backwards as he runs, and then teams come to help him, and then he just waves flash whatever. And like that just tilts me so much because there's absolutely zero reason for any of that to happen. But I mean, obviously, like that's just that's just it is what
Yeah,
it is.
speaking from strictly from a solo queue perspective, those are the mistakes you can capitalize on, right? Like
Yeah.
that's why like if everybody did like a 5 point invade, they got down vision,
But then
it'd
it all
be very stale. But nobody does that, right? Like everybody wants to invade. A lot of people want to AFK.
yeah
This game starts when you load in, Or
yeah
okay, the game starts 15 seconds into the game
yeah.
when the barriers are dropped. But
What's it called? Yeah. The other thing that's dangerous, or that's dangerous for the other side about this is like if you have someone baiting over here, you get like a mid laner, like let's say like an Annie or something. She runs down that path, and then you've got three people just sitting right there, and then you end up being the one getting collapsed on. But if you do have this cheeky board, then I guess that avoids that. So that's what's important about those types of things. And I guess this also can deter what's called level 2 mid gank.
mhm. Yeah, I think invades is a lot of it depends on the jungle matchup and draft as well too, right? Like if you have a lot of like early game CC or high damage or low cooldown, like a low cooldown champion like Ezreal, where if like you chain the Q, you can have like repeat damage, right? Like
Mm.
something early that would be really strong is like one AoE ability that can hit a lot of people. So you get like a brand, you get in Ezreal, and then you have like Shen, Nautilus. Uh, what's another good one? Shen, Nautilus, and then you have
Sejuani isn't good level 1. Nunu? Is Nunu good level 1?
whatever.
No.
Nunu's not that bad. Snowball invades are actually
Oh, yeah,
pretty good.
Snowball.
It's just like it just slows you
It's,
clear significantly, so
yeah.
you have to coordinate that with like the rest of your team and just be able to identify if it's worth to invade versus if you just like fast clear and like solo invade
Yeah,
later on at uncontested camps.
that makes sense.
But yeah, no, I was just drafting like a quick team combo off the top of my head strictly for like a strong level 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Ezreal Brand, Nautilus Shen, and then you'd have like mid lane, you'd have something. It's not that many strong level 1 mid laners, to be honest. I don't know. You just have like an Annie with a charged up stun.
Wait, hold on. Is it wait? Shen top, Brand mid, or
Shen top, yeah, sure. Brand mid,
okay?
Annie. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
Like this is just like
it's whatever.
hypothetical. Like it would be one of like the strongest like level 1s, right?
Gotcha.
You like if you somehow like you end up with those 5 champions in solo queue, then you know for sure you want to invade just because of how all their level 1 kits work. You have AoE, you have Fog of War, Vision Check, you have a consistent damage tool, you have 2 ways to lock down a champion.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes.
that's what you're looking for in invades, right? You're just looking at like the level 1 kit and how consistently you can reapply damage and how long like the CC duration is, pretty much.
Yeah, that'll make sense.
Of course, I'm not saying like that's a good comp.
But
Solo queue, but
for pure
yeah, for the
invade.
for solely for the purpose of like level invade, 1 invade, that's pretty solid.
Oh yeah, I can just do this. Cool. Another idea that I guess it's not really anywhere specific around the map, other than Baron and Dragon maybe, is like when you've just got like like 4 or 5 people positioned around here, and then you got like 3 people, 2 people, something like that. When you're setting up for Dragon, it's like I have a really hard time in the moment, like calculating
Okay.
or like making sure everyone.
Okay. if you're let's just say both teams are about equal strength. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
both have two dragons. Comps are pretty similar in how they function, right? We'll
Mm-hmm.
just say hypothetically they pick like roles that are very similar, champions that have similar strength. If you were on the red side, what would you do here
I was
with
on
like the
the red
1-4
side.
versus the 3-2?
1-4 versus 3-2. I mean, if it's possible to isolate that one person, like if the 4 people go too far down to chase the 2, then you want to go after that 1 with the 3. If as long as these 2 can get away.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it
If
also depends on like what the
or you can
champions are
threaten
there.
the 1 enough. If you like manage to get your way in kind of the middle of these 2 early enough, that you can force him back, and then you have a straight up 5v4. So it seems like these 2 baiting for these 4 is kind of the play, but just don't get
Okay.
caught. That's
I hate to bait you like
sure,
this, but
sure.
it's kind of like one of those like it depends questions, right? Like even if they are playing like similar roles and stuff, it just really depends on like what your execution is. Obviously, you want to have like be on the side with more numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like 4 beats 2, 4 beats 3, but like 3 and 2 beats 5, and like 3 beats 1, and
But like,
uh,
is
the
there
2 can collapse onto
is there
the
any
4.
concrete statements you can say about the situation with like
Yeah,
how red side plays?
yeah.
Okay.
A lot of times you want to clear out vision, right? And then you want to choke, and you want to be able to
Would that mean like here
the pick.
and
If let's just
here?
say the one person is not spotted, right? The
Mm-hmm.
3 and 2 are going to be collapsed on. They move back onto the stack of 3, and they just instantly annihilate him in that fight.
Hmm.
Versus like let's just say if you're like blue side and you know like the one person is there, right? Then the 3 goes for like the 1.
Or maybe
Like I said, like league really isn't a solved game. Um, you just look at like what the best play is there available on time. There's so many factors like cooldowns, the champions that are picked. Let's just say like a tank is like super far ahead, and if they can get like a solid flank off, right, like an Ornn ultimate, right, then it would make a lot more sense to let's just say like in this fight, right? Let's just say in the stack of 1, that's an Ornn, right? Then it makes a lot more sense for like the Ornn to be there, right? Let the 3 bait the 3 slowly in, and then Ornn gets like the 3-man
massive,
into maybe
massive
another
hole.
2-man knock up.
Yeah, that makes sense. It all depends. That's the answer. Nice.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with the all depends.
Yeah, you're always right.
But yeah, like when we're looking at something like that, like the general concept that you really want to know is like you want to be the ones taking vision, right? You want to
Okay.
be the ones that like set up on the pit,
So does this
and you want to
mean
be the ones like having bigger numbers versus smaller numbers. If it's a
before,
5-on-5.
like significantly before, like a minute before you start putting down?
In general, the rule is you want to back when dragon is spawning in for at the latest. You want to probably back at like the 42-45 second mark,
Yeah.
because travel time there takes around like 15-20 seconds ready. So you have that 20-second window to kind of like set up vision and you
Yeah.
position yourself appropriately.
Yeah. That's another thing that really annoys me is when people back when it's 5 seconds to drag.
Yeah,
It's just
like
like
even if you're back at 30, it's a bit too late. Like
yeah.
it's fine if like you're completing an item, and you're like maybe you're like the
Maybe you
long
can
range
just stomp the
ADC
fight.
or long range mage like Xerath and stuff. Sure, you can do that if you have vision from there towards jungle.
Yeah.
But the rest of the team should be there setting up, right. The hard lockdown CC people, the people who are zoning, the ones who are the support should be there.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
So then good words would just be like, there, one along there, and
Yeah,
then
even the stuff like pixel bush wards, right? Like
maybe over the wall here.
yeah, like the river pixel bush ward is
Uh,
important, right? Like you're contesting, and then even a ward on in the middle of the river if there's no scuttle, if it's a scuttleless fight.
Sure.
Yeah, those wards are important because those are pretty much anything is fog. Anything that is a fog, you can call it as like a choke point, right? A choke point is just pretty much like places where you kind of like collapse on them in pressure. And they really have no way to escape. So of course, like let's just say the center of the river is less of a choke point because they have multiple ways to escape. Right? They can, if there's a high mobility character, they can walk into like the dragon pit and like jump over the dragon pit. They can go up the river, they can go down the river, and they can run into your jungle if like that side's not that strong. However, let's just say you have vision there, and then you have like rumble, or and etc. Right? And then it like with like the AOE layering and like CC damage, that effectively becomes a choke point because you can like apply a lot of like pick potential and a lot of like damage on their team.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I look at it.
Nice.
Point of congestion or blockage. That's the
Choke
definition.
point. Okay. Any other ideas you can think of off the top of your head? Maybe like jungle pathing specifically, or
Yeah, jungle pathing just for those sometimes they're just champion specific,
sure.
and it's going to depend on the game. You never want to take like the same jungle pathing every game.
What
It's
jungle
probably
are
fine
you?
to take like
What jungle are you
so
familiar with? Because I want to go through an example if you. That works.
Kane, Lee Sin, Kha'Zix, like I'm pretty familiar with like a lot of like the solo queue junglers.
Okay. Yeah, Lee Sin's fine.
Just like fire an example.
Lee Sin.
Lee Sin?
Yeah.
Okay, Lee Sin, Lee Sin is one of the best examples because early game you actually want to look at having one of the more flexible openers, right? Let's just you want to look at how your lane states are. Of course, like that's kind of standard how all junglers want to be doing. But let's just say your mid has CC, your mid has prio, but like their mid lane is like shoving in. So what that means is like when I think of prio, it just means like they can manage the wave if they really need to.
Okay. Wait.
Let's just say
so prio meaning like if they have like 6 minions and you have 3 minions, because you're gonna be able to manage that, but they're still further up in the lane or they're going to be in like the next wave or whatever. So
okay,
I'm kind of confused then.
better yet to say is like they can't, like, even though if the wave is like shoving, like let's just say if they have a tool, they can like, let's just say it's like a rumble or something, right? There's like 5 casters shoving in, he can just cast a Q and like run over towards you. The rumble still has prio in lane because let's just say it's like a level 3 rumble versus a level 3 Syndra.
So just
right?
if they are able to run faster than the other mid laner over to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just be aware of stuff that you can and then let's just say your top also has prio, right? Then generally you want to look for a quick level 3 clear. So let's just say your jungler, you do blue gromp, red, right? Sometimes you do wolves. It depends on like the state, right? If you do wolves, you're usually actually looking to play towards bot side first.
Oh yeah, like a quick level. I do that sometimes. I like flex a. I don't know if flex is the right word, but like I leave the option for myself to go for level 3 bot. And then...
Yeah, because the thing is, if your laners both have prio and they can get vision out, it's much harder for the enemy jungler to invade your red side.
And is there a really good way to like? Is it just like if this side is just not thinking about getting ganked and they're just
you just run behind the tri bush. You just run behind the tri bush.
But is that like kind of the main or situation you'd see in solo queue maybe to be able to punish?
The situation shows up a lot where let's just say like they're just like trading, they're scrapping. It's like a Ashe versus Jin lane versus Leona versus Nautilus. So it's like both sides kind of have like a kill support and they're just like scrapping each other. They're down to like 30-40%. You see this happening and your bot lane pings flash and heal were burned, or like a flash or heal was burned. You don't want to and you've already started blue side, right? And they're like really scrappy. You don't want to go clear your red and run back down, right? Like that's inefficient pathing. The red is not going to be as important.
Also,
you heading down there right away and looking for the kill or popping that additional summoner and getting your bot lane that infinite advantage.
Yeah.
And at this point, like in this hypothetical, right? Your mid lane and your top lane have priority. So you tell them to ward entrance. Right? So for this case, the top laner can ward their tri-bush, and your mid laner can just ward Raptor's entrance. And then
so top laner warding.
So, right?
What about warding like on their blue? How do you feel about that?
That's fine too. It just depends on like how much prio there is, right? Like if you can track their jungler, right, and deter them.
Yeah.
That's all the purpose is. It's just like defensive is usually just like easier,
Yeah.
but offensive wards are totally fine, especially in a spot where like
Sure. Yeah.
you have prio. The only issue with that is if let's just say they have a strong level 3 jungler too, or level
Yeah.
2 jungler,
So
and
if they hit like
this is the
red.
time where like you're pathing to you finish wolves and you path towards bot and you communicate this play to your team. This is where um, for the blue side, their counterplay is to have the jungler in top try to collapse on your top laner, right, and go
Yeah.
for the kill there.
So this is
And
kind of
so
setting
that's what
yourself
that's what
up.
you gotta be. That's what you gotta be aware of. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So like I play Riven, right? So this word might make more sense on Riven because I have a lot of mobility.
hmm
Okay.
And it doesn't even have to be in the tribush ward. Like you could even just drop a ward in the river. Just don't
Just
let
down
just
here.
don't reduce the amount of pathing that the enemy jungler can take straight
So
towards
right.
your red,
So there.
and like
Or
and punish like your
and
topside
then
jungle.
could maybe mid laner drop one. I don't know, somewhere over here or
Yeah,
something like
it's
that.
just whatever. Like, you want to try to get like your top and mid just kind of in sync, having like vision, because this is the most crucial point, right? This is the level 3 clear, which is generally typically where the junglers look for their first gank if they're not power farming.
Hmm.
So if they're not going to gank, right, like if you have like prow and stuff and you have like vision out, then they're gonna look to power farm
So if it's like an
because they're
Elise or
probably not
something
going
like
to invade
that,
you. Hmm.
then this kind of just stops all their.
Yep. And it depends too. Like if your solo laners have like TP or stuff, like they could even like 2v1 the jungler. You'll see this happen sometimes, right? They try to go towards a crab or something. So let's just say at least 4 camps. As you are Leeson and you gank bot, and it's like heading towards 315 now. Let's just say the bot gank works. You don't kill them, but you get like the flash, right? Because they blew heal earlier. You get their flash. Now you head towards and do the red. Elise clears his top side. Um,
Would
or,
Elise?
at least started red side. At least started red side. So
y-
like red buff, so there's no red buff there. But like you walk in your
Right.
jungle and you
That's
can
what.
like
That's what
start
I'm
scrapping
doing.
like
The
cards and
X's.
stuff instead of like reset.
I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Elise run
So you said
Elise
she.
runs top towards the scuttle.
Okay.
Yeah, and let's just say mid has prow and he's shoved in the wave, so mid can't rotate over right now. Your mid and top can collapse onto the jungler. That's a play they can make, right? Obviously, this is in a more coordinated setting, but
Yeah.
the and this time you can go and leave. This is a good time to like take rugs and leave a camp, take raptors and leave a camp, reset, go to your topside jungle, and boom, now you have a level and a half advantage on the enemy at least.
Okay.
It's like just like super punish, and then
S-
now you're in a spot where you reset, you get a pink ward, you get double long swords, you get a ward into their red buff entrance, right?
Okay.
And then you can start forcing a dragon. And then if your mid continues that prout, right? Like this is obviously we're speaking from a perspective where your mid lane is winning and how you, as a jungler, win that game harder and like convert that into a win.
Does the Lee Sin ever come down here and punish by taking Krugs if he sees Elise up here? And
Yeah, that's
like,
what I'm saying. Like the Lee
okay,
Sin goes down, takes the Krugs, takes the Raptors,
okay,
reset, goes to topside jungle. Now you have a 1.5 level advantage because Elise has no camps, right? He can't. Elise, because Elise, we're saying like Elise goes towards the scuttle. Doesn't matter if he gets the scuttle or not, but he's like pressured. Elise doesn't have any camps because he can't enter your topside jungle. Whereas this entire time you've already gotten a gank off and you're getting their Raptors, you're getting their Krugs, and then you reset and then you head towards your topside jungle. What does Elise do, right? Elise doesn't have a
she
path
doesn't
at
have
that point.
camps.
Elise is gonna look. Elise has to look for a gank or figure a way to
Or
enter into
yeah,
your blue side jungle,
yeah.
and that's how like that's just like boom, boom, boom. Everything going according to plan.
And then so if Elise goes for a
You
gank
trigger
bot
blue.
after that, that, and she succeeds, then you know she's going to be coming
Hmm.
up here. Are you
Hmm.
like strong enough to just straight up contest her even with their bot lane still
Yeah,
down?
Leeson beats Elise, but it just depends. Like that's why you have vision, right? Like if you can get the Q off, the Elise is you're gonna expect the Elise to be like 60-70% health. He's not gonna be like full HP unless like your bot like really misplayed that.
Yeah.
So at that point you can just like being killer. You got double longsword, right? In this hypothetical, so
Yeah.
you have the damage to easily out trade her 1v1.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Well, we're a little past 9, so if you want to wrap it up here, that's totally cool. If you want to keep talking, that's also totally cool.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Just fun,
Awesome.
just to talk about like mainly talk about like solo queue concepts, a couple of like games in here, and like more about like the theory about how you should play the game,
Yeah.
how you should approach it with your mentality.
Yeah,
But,
man.
it's fun. I hope your podcast goes well and you get
Thanks,
some
man.
more as Tanks Rules puts it, get some more qualified guests somewhere down the line who are able to provide you some maybe some even higher level insight that would be useful.
I seriously appreciate it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. You had a good time.
Yeah.
All right, I'll talk to you soon. See you
All
later,
right.
buddy.
Take it easy.